It's probably not the most disturbing North Carolina-related story, Dan, because in a more disturbing moment, the basketball team somehow is in the tournament.
I never saw anybody make players better like Rick Pitino did.
Bill Belichick. Don't knock having a girlfriend 1/3 your age until you've tried it.
And now a man who was once blinded by science. Ricky Cobb.
North Carolina making news to the NCAA tournament, and a lot of people are trying to figure out exactly how that happened. North Carolina 1-12 in what they call quad one games. Are you aware of what quad one is? I'm going to bring you up to speed. A quad one game is any game you play against a top 30 ranked team at home, a game that you play against a top 50 ranked team at a neutral site, or a game that you play against a top 75 ranked team on the road. Those are considered to be quad one games. North Carolina going 1-12 in 13 of those games this season, 22-13 on the year, but they make the field controversially. We're going to talk about that as we go forward. And Bill Belichick, I don't know. Bill Belichick being called a boy toy, an Instagram boyfriend. Would you look at this? The 6-time Super Bowl winning head coach. He's got 2 more rings from his days with the New York Giants, defensive coordinator. Here he is coordinating his 24-year-old girlfriend into some kind of pose on the beach. Look at that. Well, my goodness. 72 years old. There's his... Well, you could be mistaken. You might think that that man really loves his granddaughter. And it's getting a little weird out there. It's probably okay, but maybe it's concerning. Here, Jeff Ramage, with apologies to Super 70 Sports. Jeff, you don't need to apologize. This is pretty good. Jeff says, isn't this heartwarming? Coach Belichick at the beach with his granddaughter. Hold on. Being told this is his girlfriend. Jeff's stealing a page out of my book there, but doing it so well that I'm flattered. I'm going to give you an A for that, Jeff. And I don't know how I feel about it, man. I'm not anti-Belichick. I'm really not. Michael Lombardi, the GM of the North Carolina football program, he's my boy. He's Belichick's guy. Bill is the GOAT. He's the greatest coach in the history of football. I don't know. Hey, look. Don't knock having a girlfriend 1/3 your age until you've tried it. But you better be at least 54 years old, is all that I have to say. That's my advice to you. Do the math. You can't go 1/3 of your age until you're very old. That would be illegal. This isn't illegal. It's just, well, it just is what it is, isn't it? I'll tell you this. Belichick, he's barefoot there on the beach. I don't think that he wore these sneakers out there, however. There you have it. The official shoe of I no longer desire the touch of a woman. Most 72-year-old guys have been wearing a pair of these motherfuckers for at least 5 years. They're not seeing any part of a vagina at that age where they are in their lives. Their wives are just glad that they're leaving them alone, is probably what's happening for most 72-year-old men. Not Bill Belichick. I guess that's what happens when you've got Super Bowl rings for almost every finger. You're just ready to go out on the beach and kick a 24-year-old girl up into the air. Let me bring in a man now who I don't think has been at the beach putting anybody in the air. Maybe, then again, maybe he has. I don't know. He has a lovely wife. She might enjoy him doing that for her sometimes. I speak of the man who hosts Don't At Me on OutKick every morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. If you miss it, that's on you because it's some of the best shit going today. I speak of the pride of the Hoosier state of Indiana. Dan Dakich joins the program. Dan, What's Bill doing, man? I know we've talked about it, but before we get into the NCAA stuff, is he living his best life? Am I a hater? Or is it just fucking weird, Dan? I mean, I don't know. I'm processing a lot of feelings here.
Love is love, baby. Love is love. Isn't that what we're all supposed to say no matter what? I don't know. I told you before, I got divorced. I had just about turned 50, and I went out with a 28-year-old, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm done here. All right, moving along. That was before my wife and I got together. She was actually dumping me at the time. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Good for him. I mean, who am I to judge somebody else's life? You're on the beach, you're throwing up your little girlfriend. I don't know. Yeah, he's living his best life. You're not a hater. You're just saying what's going on in your own opinion. And if that's hating, so what? But I don't know, man. Good for him. Guy, let's put it that. Good for him, but I got to tell you, man, they come to my house and I'm her dad. And I'm like, great, you got rings. What are you doing? Like, Belichick, what, But love is love. That's what they tell me in all kind of different communities, so I got to go with it. Love is love, baby. Get off his ass.
Dan, when was the last time you took your lady? I've met your lovely wife. She's a wonderful woman. When was the last time you took her out onto the beach and just pushed her up into the air and had her do exotic poses?
Yeah, I don't, man, good for Bill. He's pretty strong. My wife would be like, we're going to do what now? I'm going to, we're down here in Florida. I'm going to push you up and we're going to do what? No, we're not doing that. How about I throw you up in the air is what my wife would say. Yeah, man, I think, I don't anticipate that ever happening, Ricky. I don't. That's never happening. And it never has. I guess I did it with my daughter when she was a little girl. I'd throw her up in the air, that kind of thing. But no, but you know what? I guess if you're Bill Belichick, you do whatever the hell you want, and she wants to do it. Let's go, man. What the hell?
God bless them. That's all we can say. It's probably not the most disturbing North Carolina-related story, Dan, because in a more disturbing moment, the basketball team somehow is in the fucking tournament. And Barrett Sallee tweeting about this, saying, it ain't right. If you put any other name on the North Carolina jersey, that team wouldn't even be considered for a tournament bid. Dan, you didn't mince words. And obviously mincing words is never a problem that you have, but you certainly didn't mince words yesterday in calling out Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director there in Chapel Hill, for the fact that it's funny business. Tell me your take on it, Dan. You know the ins and outs of college athletics better than 99.9% of us.
Well, I actually went through. They invited me and a bunch of media members to a one-day, show you how they put a bracket, and you spent literally all day there. So I understand there's going to be a lot of things that look weird, like, second round Calipari against Pitino, things like that. But I got to tell you, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize Bubba Cunningham, depending on who you listen to, I read where he got a $104,000 bonus for North Carolina making it into the tournament. Bubba Cunningham is the athletic director of North Carolina, and he's the head of the committee. Then I read it was only $68,000, it's a month's salary, so whoever you want to believe. But, I've always said money corrupts. I've always said you put 12, 13 guys in a room, they're not going to agree, and somebody's going to get to somebody to get something done. Like people say, well, Bubba wasn't in the meeting when we talked about Carolina, and that is true. When they talk about a school that somebody represents, that person leaves the room. But what about a dinner? What about over drinks? What about at the dessert cart that they bring around for these guys in their sequestered hotel floor? They make this out to be the biggest deal ever. You can't tell me Bubba Cunningham doesn't have a couple friends on there that pushed for him inside that room. You can't. Now, you can tell other people that. Great, but you can't tell me that. I've seen too much of this nonsense. Bubba is a great dude. I've known him. Not great, not well. He was AD at Ball State when I was in the MAC, and fine, but I put it by nobody. All of a sudden, it comes out he's going to get a bonus for Carolina being in the tournament. He's the AD at Carolina and head of selection committee. That should never happen. I think this, and I'm curious if you'd agree with me, take this out of the NCAA committee's hands and give it to the boys and girls in Vegas and have them come back with a bracket. It will be unbiased. It will be done mathematically, analytically, and it'll be done better than any. Give them your parameters, all the stuff. Send it out to Vegas. They'll give it back to you, and we'll have it. Instead of all these guys who work their whole lives as big old dorks trying to get in this room, in the committee, or these women that have to be in the committee and blah, 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 blah. Nah, man, you get $106K. You get them, and that's not it, actually. Ricky, it's $106K. It's 1 month's salary for entrance for Bubba Cunningham. That's in his contract. And then Sweet 16, he gets more. Elite 8, he gets more. National Championship, he gets more. I mean, please, don't insult our intelligence by having these in their contracts. Look, I don't blame Bubba Cunningham for getting it in his contract, but I don't need him to be the head of the committee. And all of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, North Carolina had a horse bleep year. If they were any other school, as Barrett said, they wouldn't be in, not even close, wouldn't even be discussed. But here we are, and it's corrupt, and it's no good. It should be eliminated.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think you got to have some sort of unbiased third party taking a look at this. The first thing it made me think of, and I don't want to take us off on a tangent here, but Harold Baines, God bless him, getting into the Hall of Fame a few years ago. Tony La Russa was on the committee, and Tony La Russa lobbied for him, and it was one of these, handful of people go into a room and relationships and, backs get scratched and deals, are made. I don't like it at all. Dan, let's talk about the game itself. You mentioned Pitino and Calipari as a potential second round matchup. I want to go to some sound on Rick Pitino here, who is enjoying a late career renaissance with St. John's. He was asked about sending a message to other teams in the tournament, and here was his response.
A regular season title, a tournament title, and you're probably going to be a very, very high seed in this NCAA tournament. What message would you send to this country that have been used to a St. John's team towards the middle, and now they're about to see in March Madness a St. John's team towards the top?
I don't send any messages to anyone. Humility is a big part of my life right now. It wasn't always that way. I don't believe in redemption. I believe in humility. I don't believe in things that I believe in living in what I call the precious present, a gift that we all get. We just lost a superstar in Louisville, Junior Bridgman, who was a young man who didn't smoke, didn't drink, carried his life in God's name in a big way. So I take life as one day at a time. I take it one game at a time. I don't consider ourselves that people should beware of us. I've lost in the first round. I've been to 7 Final Fours. So we'll take it one game at a time, one possession at a time.
Well, Dan, I've got a complicated relationship with Rick Pitino. When I was in high school, I watched him come in from Providence, turn around the University of Kentucky program completely. I watched him come to the University of Louisville, where I got my master's degree, and I watched us win a championship there. They took it away from us. I don't know. Can we still count it? Does it not count? That whole thing is just weird to me. I watched it happen. They're trying to tell me that there was no champion in 2013. What do you think of what Pitino has done here on the north side of 70 years old with this St. John's team?
I think it's awesome. I think, he's always been one of the great talkers, so now he's involved into God and all that stuff. That's good. I agree with you on 13. Look, nobody's paying attention anymore. Nobody cares what the NCAA says, so reinstate it yourself, Louisville. I believe that. I mean, what? Okay, the NCAA is going to tell you to take the banner down? Screw you. But I love what Pitino's doing. I love his team. And I've always said this about Rick Pitino. He is, in my opinion, the second best coach I've ever seen in college basketball. I will tell anybody Bob Knight was the best basketball coach because in all his national championships, Final Fours, he only had one NBA All-Star, Isaiah Thomas. And I look at all the players these other guys have. But here's why I say Pitino's so good. He's the father of individual improvement. He's the father of conditioning in college basketball. I never saw anybody make players better like Rick Pitino did. And I've always been a Rick Pitino fan. I don't know him. He was the first guest on my first radio show, but he was selling a book, and he was a little bit of a jackass to start with, to the point where I was going to hang up on him. But then he lightened up a little bit. But I've always been a fan. I've always had massive respect for him, and what he's doing right now is the perfect way, if he chooses to end his career there, to end his career there. You know, full circle, New York guy, really good team. I don't know if they shoot it well enough. It may come back to bite him in a game. I don't know. But he went out to Greece. And when he went to Greece and won championships out there, that's a tough-ass league. Different basketball. And he won 2 of them. I'm like, man, hire him. If you're stupid, then say, no, we're mad about what he did at Louisville. Oh, shut up. Hire him. I've wanted Indiana to hire him, I don't know, since they didn't hire me. So there you go. I think Pitino's the best, and I think what he's doing right now, perfect end to his career, Ricky.
Well, if he somehow was able to get this one, it'd be a hell of a feat to win 3 tournaments with 3 different schools. That would, not that he needs anything else for the Hall of Fame resume, but that would be a hell of a feather in his cap, no doubt about it. Dan, appreciate you as always, my brother. Good stuff.
You the man. Thanks, Ricky. See you guys.
Dan Dakich, the legend himself. Look, I'm being nice to Pitino today. I will put up this Super 70s tweet. We can have a little fun, can't we? You were illegally recruited right now just for looking at this photo. Couple of Kentucky legends. Didn't end well, but, if it doesn't, you know what they say sometimes, if things didn't end well, they wouldn't end, would they? And let me now bring in somebody who does everything right. Well, that's his story anyway. I speak, of course, of the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee. He is Ronnie T-Shirts. And Ronnie, I don't know. You tell me where you want to begin. You want to begin with Bill Belichick, or do you want to begin?
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Why don't you do that, and then we'll move to college. Did
you hear me laughing in your ear? I was trying to muffle it. Like, I didn't want to come across on the feed, but it's like normally your opening monologues aren't like stand up comedy, but oh my gosh, dude! Like, I wasn't expecting it, and it just so funny.
It's all right. I don't think you should have to muffle that. I think the laughter should be audible.
Okay, so honestly, it's like a laugh track, right? Like. It's a laugh track, like 70 sitcoms. To suppress it.
Yeah,
okay.
Let it,
all right,
let it rip.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, as long as you're good with that.
I like to know when there's appreciation.
Okay, so ick and props at the same time, right? Like, yeah. I have both.
Props.
I have both emotions, and they're both correct. This is so ick, as the kids say, I think. And it's just weird, dude. I guess
I don't know. Like, what is her motivation? I mean, it's just like, are 24-year-old girls really attracted to 72-year-old men? You know what I'm saying? And he's not like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. 72. He's like regular guy 72.
So can we, if we're gonna be honest here and be real with each other, and I'm gonna sanitize it, but I get him wanting to be with her for a little bit, because what 72-year-old wouldn't want to be like, 24? This could be fun. But there is zero chance that this girl is an intellectual maturity match for him. And I can't imagine how just it wouldn't be enjoyable. But then there's the whole thing of, you're 72, death is not like too far in the horizon. And here's somebody with a zest for life that maybe infuses you with a zest for life. So like, I think it's ick, but I get it. And I can't tell you, Ricky, that if I'm 72 years old and Lori has left me and a 24-year-old's like, what up, Ronnie T-shirts? What up, Ronnie T-shirts?
Wow.
I heard you're an international streaming star. Right?
It's going to be a fun conversation tonight with Lori. Are we counting on the fact that Lori doesn't watch the program?
Yeah, she doesn't watch. So
okay.
What I want to do all those rings, does me being an international streaming star, you think that carries the same weight out there with the 24-year-old crowd?
All it takes is one.
Just one, baby.
One. You need one 24-year-old that is profound. First of all, you need a 24-year-old woman who had a really bad father. Okay, you need to capitalize on terrible paternal parenting that occurred during formative years. Yes, that's what you need. You need to find somebody who had a really terrible father, and you might be in the ball game, Ronnie. Somebody who appreciates streaming and who had a terrible father
internationally.
That would be. Yes, on an international basis. The good news is the whole world is your oyster. You know, you might find someone in Portugal or something. Lori, please, Lori can't die now. That's all that matters to me. I'm going to come down and personally check on Lori's health every several months to make sure that woman lives to a ripe old age. She's got to outlive you, because I'm not prepared for the Ronnie T-shirts, Belichick trophy girlfriend era at all, Ronnie. Let's talk celebrations, Ron. This is a great time of year. March Madness, it's heartbreak and joy and buzzer beaters, and there's a lot of celebrating that's going to be going on over the next few weeks. And then we'll see the montage at the end as they play
the ball is tipped
in time, or one shining moment, or whatever the fuck they play while they show us the human emotion of all of this. I've got a couple here for you. I got two celebrations from this weekend, Ron. I'm going to put them out there, and then I'm going to let you tell me which one you like better. The first one here is Grand Canyon University women's basketball coach Molly Miller. All right? After a big win, she got an ice water bath here from her team. Let's go ahead and take a look at this, shall we? And she just rolled with it. Here we go. That's got to be a jolt to the... And there it is, Snow Angels, moonwalk.
Cabbage Patch, it looked like.
Dancing, lifted up there, slow motion. She looks like Kelly Ripa on cocaine. I'm sure Molly Miller was not on cocaine. But that was a celebration. I mean, we had snow angels. First of all, we had the ice bath. Then we had snow angels in the just cold water that was on the floor. Then she moonwalked through it, dancing, lifted up. That's a pretty high bar.
All
but
right.
I give you Michigan baseball player Mitch Voigt, who was safe at third base, and, well, then he did this, Ron. Let's take a look. There it is. Wait a minute. Oh, he did some of the foul line, Ron. Just a little toot.
I would expect
right there.
nothing less from a Michigan student. That's just
safe at third, and then just doing a line there, just like Sonny Bono used to do it off of Cher's buttocks back at Studio 54.
I mean, such
that
a
been after Sonny.
Such a Michigan move, Ricky, to promote drug use. Such a Michigan move.
Irresponsible.
What? How do you explain it to your kids, huh? How do you explain it to your kids? That's what I want to know.
A woman moonwalking in a locker room? No, you mean the cocaine.
The cocaine.
How do I explain to my children that woman moonwalking through ice water? Puddles?
You think? I think Molly knew that she was going to win because she had on a black shirt. Because if she would have had a white shirt on, it would have been like a wet T-shirt contest. So good thing she had that dark shirt
Pitino.
on. Yeah,
Right. Problem. I'm going to give the nod to Molly there. I'm going to give the nod to Molly for best celebration.
100%.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's keep talking about baseball a little bit. Mitch Voigt adding some theatrics to baseball, but Nobody adds theatrics to baseball more than the Savannah Bananas, Ron. As we have talked about on this program, they're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, I guess, is maybe the best way that we can put it. And they had 65,000 fans come out to see them at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa this weekend. Look at that. 65,000 people coming out to watch these guys play goofy, silly baseball in a fucking market that the Rays are lucky if they get 1/10 of that many people.
I was going to say, do they get 65,000 a year? Is that what their annual attendance is?
They get 65,000 a series if they're lucky. I mean, really. I mean, they've had trouble drawing flies down there. Obviously, they've got bigger problems now with Tropicana Field having the roof blown off.
Yeah, I was going to say, has that roof been fixed yet?
They're playing at the Yankees minor league facility. No, they're playing this entire season at a Yankees minor league facility.
Well, at least it'll look full.
the entire year. Yeah, 65,000 to see the fucking Savannah Banana. Hey, look, I mean, if you're into that,
I'll tell you what,
I
bet if they show up anywhere close to Chicago, I bet if they show up anywhere close to Chicago, your daughters are going to want to go because, like, my friend went. Well,
they don't know that the Savannah Bananas exist, probably. And
they're on TikTok, aren't they? Of course they know. They absolutely know.
I'm not going to fucking tell them.
Ask your kid.
The Globetrotters were talented anyway. I don't know, Ron. Speaking of bananas.
Oh gosh.
Tim.
Oh gosh.
Well, Tim wrote me a segue, and by God, I'm brave enough that I'm going to read it. Take a look at this headline here from the National Review. Ron, middle school staff force girls to change in front of trans-identifying boy, mom says. That is here in my state of Illinois.
Of course it is.
This has occurred. Yeah. Again, this is a biological male who identifies as a female. Illinois public school administrators here. This is Haley Strack at National Review. Illinois public school administrators tried to force a 13-year-old girl to change clothes in front of a biological male in accordance with the district's inclusive bathroom policy that allows transgender students to use whichever locker room corresponds with their chosen gender. The mother of the girl said at Deerfield School District 109 school board meeting on Thursday evening. All right, well, this is alleged.
Feels really wrong,
we don't
Ricky.
know anything more than that. This is, to me, again, just common sense. It's just common sense. I don't understand why the comfort of one youth is greater than the comfort of every female. That's what I don't understand. I have sympathy and I have compassion for everyone. But I don't understand why we're talking about 1% of the society, roughly, that legitimately has gender dysphoria. There's a lot of this that's going on that is, people they're young, they're confused. There's a social contagion element of this. You don't just suddenly have a ginormous statistical leap in people who identify as transgender medically. Gender dysphoria is real and rare, and I have a great amount of sympathy and compassion for people who experience it because it's very difficult. I have known people, I had students who were in this category, and I'm sorry for the pain that they have to go through. But having said that, why are the needs of 1% roughly of the population put ahead of the needs of 50% of the population? I don't understand it, Ron.
Ricky, I want to know how. Imagine if this was one of your daughters. Like, I just don't really understand how somebody that works at a school could actually force a girl. You need to take your clothes off right now and put your other clothes on in front of, that feels really wrong to me,
I don't
Ricky.
know the circumstances.
Well, if that's what happened,
exactly what went down.
Yeah. If that's what happened,
But,
that's pretty.
I don't know the circumstances. We'll have to follow this story and see what is said. But again, just getting back to basics here, at the end of the day, with respect for everyone, nature made it the way that it is. And I think it's a lot simpler just to adhere to what, until about 15 minutes ago, we all agreed was a pretty good social contract. The biological males change with the biological males. The biological females change with the biological females. That's the way we've done it for forever. It didn't seem to be a problem. I don't think anybody was fucking complaining about it in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
Keep going.
The aughts. When did it become a
Depends.
thing? When did it become a thing? And not just a thing, but a crisis, where if you don't do it, oh my God, you're a terrible person. You're a bigot. I'm sorry. We got to push back towards common sense and sanity. Again, with respect to everyone. Ron, here's a whopper for you. All right? Here is a whopper for you.
I'm ready.
Donald Trump, late last night, announcing that he's going to challenge Joe Biden's pardons. And I'm not going to read this entire thing, but I will summarize here. Donald Trump saying that the pardons, and he's got pardons in air quotes, that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs. Well, didn't even know that was a committee. He's declaring them void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because he claims they were done by auto pen, and Joe Biden was not aware of what was even going on in many cases. So, I don't even know how this sets up. I'm a few credits shy of my law degree here. So I'm sure if he tries to do this, we're going to court and...
Well, we're going to court with everything, Ricky. Like literally everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing that happens now,
right.
it's like he's like, okay, this is my executive order, and it's like, boom, immediately to court. Every single thing he does, and so this is the new normal. This is the new normal.
Look, I don't know if pardons have been auto-penned in the past. I don't know if there's precedent for how these things are done. I don't know the faintest fucking whiff of the legalities of how this would turn out. But I will say, I doubt that Joe Biden could sit here and tell you who he pardoned today.
No
chance.
What I
mean? So whatever it is, I gotta say there's some validity, I would say at least, to the argument that Joe Biden probably wasn't really the person who was behind some of these pardons. I think he was a hollow vessel.
Yeah.
I think you're being kind. We had a shadow government. I think
you're being kind by saying you think.
Well, look, dude, we had a shadow government. There's no question about that. And I know that there's a lot of folks on the left who there's some who would deny that. There's many on the left who know that. Maybe they don't have a problem with it because it was people that they were ideologically inclined to agree with who were doing the things behind the scenes. Right. But I'm here to tell you, Ron, apart from political philosophy, let's leave ideology out of it. And I know that that's extremely difficult for us to do in this society, even for 1 minute for a hypothetical. But leaving ideology out of it entirely, I like living in a world where the president, whether that is Obama, whether that is Biden, whether that is Bush, whether it's Trump, whoever it is, I like knowing that the president is the person in charge and that the buck stops with the president. Harry Truman had it in the Oval Office. The buck stops here. The buck didn't stop anywhere near Joe Biden. He was cognitively compromised, and he was not really running things. And I think that is a big problem as citizens, as people who vote in an election. We're not voting for a proxy figure that there's some crew behind this guy who's really running things and using him as a puppet. And I think that's deeply, deeply concerning. And that's the biggest concern I have about the Biden administration. Honestly.
Yeah, Ricky, the reason that's so important is somebody has to be held accountable for things, good or bad. And so we don't know who to hold accountable for some of these decisions because it was Biden. Well, no, it wasn't Biden. So if we want to go investigate and go who said this could happen, like everybody's like, I don't know.
Well, Ron, who's the person who sends out the orders that all of these Democratic senators, 24 of them, are sending out the same message about
Correct.
Donald Trump? That's practically word for word. They're reading from a script. When we see a whole bunch of Democratic Congress people in masse, sending out tweets that have the exact same language and verbiage, who's behind that? Who's sending those directives, right? Who's the person that said, do they all get together? I want to know that.